Hello and welcome to Data Engineering with SubDAG. In this advanced Cloud Composer tutorial, we are going to explore powerful concepts like dynamic DAGs and managing dependencies between different DAGs. Let's get started. Here is what we will cover today. First, we will understand what dynamic DAGs are and see a practical example of how to generate them. Then, we will discuss why TaskGroups are the preferred way to group tasks over the older SubDAGs. After that, we will dive into managing dependencies across different DAGs. Finally, we will touch upon some best practices for monitoring and alerting. So, what exactly are dynamic DAGs? Imagine you have to create data pipelines for 10 different tables, and the logic for each pipeline is identical. Instead of copying and pasting code into 10 separate files, you can write a single Python script that loops through the table names and generates a DAG for each one. This approach drastically reduces redundant code, makes maintenance easier, and ensures all your pipelines are consistent. Let's look at some code. Here we have a list of table names. We define a function called createDAG that builds a simple DAG structure. Then we loop through our table list. Inside the loop, we dynamically generate a unique DAG ID for each table and call our createDAG function. The key part is assigning the returned DAG object to the global namespace using globals. This is how Airflow discovers these dynamically created DAGs. When you have a complex DAG, you might want to group related tasks. In the past, SubDAGs were used for this, but they are now heavily discouraged. SubDAGs run in a separate process, which can lead to performance issues and deadlocks with the scheduler. The modern and recommended approach is to use TaskGroups. A task group is simply a way to visually organize tasks in the Airflow UI without adding any performance overhead. It keeps all tasks within the same DAG context, making them much simpler and more reliable. Using a task group is very straightforward. You import task group from Airflow and use a with statement to define the group. Any tasks defined inside this block will be visually grouped together in the UI under the specified group ID. You can then set dependencies on the entire group, just like you would with a single task, which cleans up your DAG's graph view significantly. Now let's talk about a very common scenario in complex data environments. Cross-DAG dependencies. This is when you have one DAG, say A, producer, that ingests raw data, and another, consumer, DAG that can only run after the producer has successfully finished. Airflow provides specific operators to handle this producer-consumer pattern gracefully. To make one DAG trigger another, we use the TriggerDagRunOperator in the upstream or producer DAG. You specify the _trigger_DAG_ID of the downstream DAG you want to run. A very useful parameter is _wait_ for _completion . If you set this to true, the task and the producer DAG will wait until the entire downstream DAG has finished its run. This is great for creating tightly coupled sequential workflows. An alternative, more loosely coupled approach is to use a sensor. Instead of the producer triggering the consumer DAG runs on its own schedule, but its first task is an ExternalTaskSensor. This sensor will pause and wait until a specific task in an external DAG has completed successfully. This is useful when the two DAGs are managed by different teams or have different schedules, but a dependency still exists. Finally, building advanced pipelines means you need robust monitoring. In Cloud Composer, leverage the integration with Google Cloud Monitoring to create dashboards and alerts for key metrics. Within Airflow itself, use the onFailure callback parameter to send immediate notifications when a task fails. For time-sensitive jobs, define SLAs to get alerted if a task is taking too long to complete. Proactive monitoring is key to maintaining a reliable data platform. To summarize what we have learned, use dynamic DAGs to keep your codebase clean and maintainable when you have similar workflows. Always choose task groups for visually grouping tasks and stay away from SubDAGs. For handling dependencies between DAGs, use the TriggerDagRunOperator for tightly coupled workflows or the ExternalTaskSensor for more loosely coupled ones. And finally, never forget to set up comprehensive monitoring and alerting for your production pipelines. Thank you for watching this advanced tutorial on Cloud Composer. I hope you found it useful. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and share it with your colleagues. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions or topics you would like to see in a future video. See you in the next one.